and high fiber foods. We talk about dairy and meat alternatives and phytochemicals and antioxidants, cancer-fighting compounds. And then we have cooking demos done by moi, which is a lot of fun, and then people get to taste the foods and come to understand that these foods, which might be very foreign to them, are very healthy. Not only healthy for you, but very tasty.
Now, I understand you're about to start up a series of classes. You have a flyer over there, I guess.
Well, this is a different program that I talk about. But
right. So when your cooking class, you're going to start this up over at Emerald Physicians fairly soon, I guess.
Yeah, this Saturday, a series begins at Emerald Physicians, and
That's Saturday, June 6th.
Right, June 6th.
If this is a success, hopefully by the time our viewing audience sees this, you may even be on the next step or have another class.
It'd be wonderful. And they're so gracious and so progressive to offer their offices, so we can go ahead and bring this to the public.
Yeah, they're very community-minded over there at Emerald Physicians. And particularly Dr. Siddhartha is a blessing on the Cape because he's so knowledgeable and he's had incredible information, and he's helped get numerous people off statins and heart medications and things, and as well as Dr. Soli, who is a holistic cardiologist, and the same idea of helping that food can be your best medicine, as Henry Giller said once.
Yeah.
Well, that's fantastic. So now there's another book here by Neil Barnard. I wonder if you could just hold that up to the camera too. What is this book
This is a Food for Life, and how the new 4 food groups can save your life. And as I mentioned, the 4 food groups that we advocate are the fruits, the vegetables, the grains, the whole grains, and the legumes. Part of the work that Neil Barnard is doing with Physicians Committee is a lot of advocacy work in Washington, D.C. with our congressmen to try to make them aware that we need to begin to change the food pyramid in our society and include these foods and get away from some of those foods which are very detrimental to the health of Americans and children. They just testified before Congress in January. Neil Barnard testified. Christina Perello, who is a plant-based cook as well, she testified as well, and Dr. Pam Popper. One thing they recently did, which is kind of exciting, they had successfully sued Burger King in the state of California.
Is that a fact?
So Burger King now has to put a warning on its food that it contains carcinogens. And what most people don't understand is that, you know, you go ahead and you grill meat or you cook meat at a high temperature, and that releases carcinogens.
Yes, it does.
So somebody thinks, well, I'm going to have a nice piece of lean chicken and no skin on it, and I'm going to throw it on the grill.
You're going to grill it, not fry it.
And you're getting a healthy dose of carcinogens.
You know, it's scary when you think of all the things we take for granted that actually can be detrimental to us.
Absolutely.
For grilling and that occasional hamburger or hot dog, you know, just thinking of the nitrites in hot dogs, for example. Now, on the plus side, some of the vegetables, and we've heard this probably in the news about the benefits of the phytonutrients found in broccoli and cauliflower, the cruciferous vegetables having anti-cancer properties, blueberries having high and even red wine, which is very positive things. But it isn't like there isn't one magic bullet. You have to look at the whole lifestyle, the whole spectrum of different healthy foods and make proper choices.
All of these foods together contain nutrients which really create an inner terrain which is a fertile ground for healing. You know, it's for healing, for prevention. And if the public, you know, was aware of this way, they would be demanding more from the communities, from local restaurants, from you know, supermarkets to incorporate more of organic produce. But all of them working together really create a symphony of good health.
You've touched upon another thing that's close to my heart too, which is food grown locally, and ideally it'd be organic foods. And why organic? I mean, what's so special about organic versus your commercially grown? What would be the preference there?
Well, there was a wonderful showing last year on the Cape called The Future of Food. It was a wonderful DVD which talked about and investigated what is happening to our food supply. And a lot of these big agribusinesses and Monsanto, they're injecting seeds with Roundup. They're called Roundup-resistant seeds.
Please elaborate on Roundup. I want you to really explore that. I'm glad you mentioned it too, about Roundup and Monsanto, that whole connection.
Right.
There.
You know, what happens is that they spray these fields of crops, and in order to, you know, keep the crops from growing but kill the weeds, they inject the seeds with Roundup. So it doesn't kill the crop, but it just kills the weeds. So the question is, over time, if we're continually ingesting foods that have their DNA altered, and damaged by Roundup, which is a pesticide,
Yes.
what effect is that going to have on future generations?
Exactly.
You know, these are the questions that we have to ask and have to be answered.
So just to clarify this, and I understand from Dr. Mercola's website, from which I glean some information, Monsanto, the manufacturer of Roundup, has actually developed genetically resistant strains of grain and corn, soybeans that will tolerate Roundup so that everything else around it dies, so they can have, you know, and so we don't really know the effect of genetically modified food in our bodies. What does it do? How does it act? Do our bodies recognize it? That's a scary thing. And it's working our way into our food chain, even to the point, well, you know, I don't eat that much corn or soybeans, but what about all that, you know, high fructose corn syrup that they put in soda and all these other foods? You just check your labels. Read your labels, folks. Simple as that. You don't know what you're getting out there. The more processed foods and packaged foods, you don't know what you're getting.
And, you know, not only that, and I'm glad, too, you mentioned, Mark, about reading labels. A lot of times a product might say, oh, you know, trans fat free, you know, no fat. And then when you begin to take a look at the ingredients, and you might read, you know, oils, you know, those little hidden trans fats are in there.
Hydrolyzed vegetable protein.
Exactly.
It might even be like MSG, for example, you know, which is a neurotoxin. Yes, you heard it right, folks. It's a neurotoxin.
So we need to become educated and bring this information to the public.
Totally, totally. So on a local level, Joanne, what do you do? I know you've been going to Washington and you're teaching this class, and this is a fantastic thing. Can other people get involved with this somehow, you know, with this whole awareness and spreading that?
Absolutely. You know, I think it's important to, you know, come to the classes and see for yourself what it's like. And I'm in conversation now with a local hospital to bring the program there. I've had other venues contact me, private venues that are interested in bringing it to their community. When I was down in Florida, I did it at Whole Foods, which was very receptive, and also a local oncology center, which would like a repeat. And it's wonderful for me to see people from the beginning of the class to the end of the class become so empowered about what they're eating. And even over 4 weeks, how they begin to feel. Someone said to me, I feel so much lighter. I just feel lighter. I feel healthier. I just feel energized.
A little more energy,
and it can happen in as little as 4 weeks. One woman who came to the class, who's a widely known author, her daughter is a well-known actress in Hollywood, no names mentioned. She said to me at the end of the series, she said, you saved my life. And I said, no. I said, I did nothing. We are nothing but messengers. You know, you made the choice. And I think that's key. We don't, you know, ram this down anybody's throat, but we offer them a vehicle to health and wholeness. And it's up to a person to say, yeah, I'd like to try this, or no, this is too far and it's too scary. So hopefully the program gives them the tools they need and shows them how to cook, and we have a lot of fun with it, and we have a lot of faux pas with it, that they can go home. Each person who comes to our class gets the use of our Cancer Survivor's Guide, which is also on our website. And not only does it have the research and the scientific information, but it has wonderful recipes that they can go home and try over the 4 weeks and come back and share their successes or failures. And we've all had successes and failures in the kitchen, myself included.
Exactly. You know, it's really getting creative because, you know, quite honestly, for some people, it may be boring or too much work for food preparation. It takes time.
Yeah.
I have a friend, chiropractor, no names mentioned. He lives off Cape. His wife, unbeknownst to us, developed breast cancer, and he had a horrible situation with colitis and diverticulitis. They both went into macrobiotics. They took the course with Michio Kushi, and but what happened? There's a lot of preparation, a lot of time involved. You know, so I guess what people are looking for is some balance where, with some preparation, but not overly so, how people can make this conducive to their own lifestyle, but utilize these ideas and concepts and to just change gradually. And it's never too late to change, right? I mean, this would work for an 80-year-old just as much for a 20